Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. We are welcoming Christy Pettycox from SARTA to the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Christy, for some people who might not be all that familiar with SARTA, other than seeing buses go by every once in a while, can you give us a little bit of background about what you do in our community?
Yes. Well, we do a lot of things. We look at ourselves as more than just the transportation company or agency here in the county. We're more of a community partner. So we do a lot of community outreach, and we get involved in a lot of various organizations and attend various different events to help educate the community and those individuals that may need our services on what we do and what we have.
Who rides the bus?
It's a variety of people. We have senior citizens. We have individuals who are disabled. We have veterans. We actually have the longest continuous bus route that goes from Canton to the Cleveland VA in the state of Ohio. It's a fixed route, so it's the longest one in the state. We have individuals who are going to work. We have students. We have individuals who are just going for medical appointments. And the ages range anywhere from a newborn to senior citizens.
You know, when you think about it, there were days where mass transit was pretty much the only way anybody got around. It was very rare that you never saw every family on a block with a car. Mm-hmm. How that has changed, and tell us why it would be a good idea to get back to it again.
Well, there's a variety of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the environmental impact is a huge, huge thing because you can put 25 people on a bus and get 25 cars off. That reduces the carbon footprint and just helps the environment even better. And one of our missions, and we just did a quick inventory count, and over half of our fleet is made of some kind of sustainable or uses some kind of sustainable fuel. Mm-hmm. So it's an alternative fuel, whether it's compressed natural gas or a hydrogen fuel cell or our diesel hybrids. We're doing everything we can with our buses to reduce our carbon footprint and be more environmentally friendly in that respect, as well as encouraging people to ride so that they're reducing their carbon footprint by not having individual cars on the road.
Right. What does it cost for a person if they were going to turn over a new leaf and say, you know what, I'm just going to take the bus?
Well, you could ride for $1.50 one way, or the economical way is $3 for an all-day bus pass.
Oh.
We also have a 31-day bus pass that is $45, and that's for our fixed route services. And then we obviously have our ProLine services, which are our curb-to-curb. What that means, and that's an ADA qualifying service. And
what does that mean, ADA qualifying?
What that means is you need to have some kind of disability that's recognized by ADA. Mm-hmm. It's an application-based program. You apply, you have a doctor fill out medical paperwork, and then we have individuals who review that and determine whether or not you're eligible for the service. From there, if you are, you book a ride ahead of time, and then the bus comes to your home and picks you up and then takes you to your destination. And it is $2.50 one way. We also have multi-use pack tickets and things like that you can purchase as well. But that particular service is specifically meant for individuals who have some kind of a disability and can't use our fixed route services.
Right. So I'm thinking someone elderly and they're still living in their home and they're still trying to be independent, but they know better than to drive out there on the road and to get to their doctor's appointments and so forth. So you can actually have the bus come to your front door. Do they honk and let you know they're there, or how? Or you just watch out the window?
I think it's a variety. I think it depends on the individual.
And then they take you home again?
Yeah.
Curb to curb.
Yes, it's a scheduled ride. You schedule a ride to your destination. You schedule a ride from your destination.
My goodness.
So you have to, when you call to book a trip, you can either do it online through our online program, or you call in through a reservation list, and you can book that trip. And they're using it for more than just medical appointments. Our senior citizens use them to go to dinner with their friends and go to the movies and go shopping. And, you know, we have several of them that are using it to go to parks. And it's not just senior citizens. There are other individuals who may not be able to drive themselves.
Right.
We actually have various contracts with the DD board as well as Jobs and Family Services. We also have contracts through individuals who provide what they call adult day services. And what that's for is it's an individual who's living in their home and maybe is living with family members who are working or need a break, and they can send them to an adult day center where they can go and interact with other individuals, and the family can go and do what they need to do, but the individual still gets to live in their home or live with their family members. So they're not living in a nursing home or some other facility. So we have contracts with organizations who provide that.
I'm thinking of the sightless as well.
Yes, we do have
very
several.
necessary service for people who just can't see to drive.
Yes, we do have a lot of them that ride our fixed route buses as well. There are some that have been able to do that. But yeah, our Proline services would be good for them as well.
Well, as I plan for my advancing years, this sounds like a pretty good deal. So, and the price is right. My goodness, how do you keep it so low? Because you have to pay gas prices as well.
Correct. Well, part of that is by using the alternative fuels that we have.
Let's talk about that. You've got some new buses
Yes.
that are specifically designed to use other things, alternative fuels.
Correct. We actually have 5 hydrogen fuel cell buses on property, and those buses take in hydrogen and they break the molecules apart, and one part of it creates electricity, which runs the engine components, and then the other part goes on and does its thing, and when it when it leaves the tailpipe, it comes out as water. So there's no impact on the environment. There's no chemicals, there's no pollution. It's a clean burning bus, basically.
What kind of a filling station do the buses pull into to get this kind of fuel?
We actually have a hydrogen filling station
Your
right
own.
on property. Yes, we received some grant funding. What's unique about us is we are the only facility outside of California that is operating these as part of their operational fleet.
Yes.
There are several of them in the country that are operating some research buses and testing different components of a fuel cell bus, but we are actually putting them into service for revenue. There are 2 agencies in California that have them as well. So that's kind of what differentiates us a little bit as well is we applied for the grant. The federal government wanted to see these buses outside of California and wanted to see them in a different environment. And they were looking for somebody that was maybe in a colder environment with different weather conditions that were what were in California. And we won.
And so of all the country, they picked Stark County, Ohio.
They did. So we received some grant funding to get our first 2 buses and then obviously create the filling station. We have since, because we're trying to get things moving and going, and there's things that have to be done when you have a hydrogen fuel cell bus. It's a new type of bus. And the government requires rigorous testing to be done in order for them to become commercially available. And once they become commercially available, prices start to drop on those buses, and then more people start utilizing them. So one of our buses is currently in Altoona for testing. We also have a contract with Ohio State right now where they're utilizing one of our fuel cell buses. So we actually have taken possession of 7 buses technically from the manufacturer, but only 5 of them are on property. But in doing that, we were able to reach some agreements where basically the first 2 buses were free. Because we worked out some agreements with the FTA that they're using these for different things, and they waived our 20% match for the grant funding. So the first 2 buses we got were free.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so it took a grant to be able to bring them in. Correct. They're definitely better for the environment, but how about cost once the grant money runs out? Will it be self-sustaining?
The daily maintenance, we do have some grant funding that kind of backfills that.
Okay.
But they are part of our operational fleet. We actually budget for that as part of our operations, which our operations are covered through a variety of different means. The bulk of it is covered through the sales tax that's collected here in Stark County, which, as you might be aware, is 0.25%.
Yeah.
And every 10 years, we go back up on the ballot and ask you guys to continue supporting us. And thankfully, so we have continued to get it.
Does it cost the same to ride these buses as the other buses?
It does.
So when you're a passenger, that makes no difference.
It does not.
Would we, the typical public, be able to identify one of these unique buses as opposed to a gas-burning fuel bus?
We don't have any gas buses.
You have no gas?
Not traditional gasoline.
Really?
We have a few diesel buses left
That's
on property.
what I meant, yes.
We have a few what's called compressed natural gas or CNG.
Okay.
And those are marked. There's a big, huge logo on the side that says Sarta CNG on it. And then the fuel cell buses are completely different looking. Like the body of the bus is different looking, but it's completely wrapped. The graphic design of that is completely different, and they have little spheres, and it calls out that it's the hydrogen fuel cell bus.
That's so we can all wave and go,
yes.
I know all about you.
Yes.
How many seats? Same? Similar?
Yes. Yes. I think the fuel cell bus might have a couple fewer than the traditional buses, but essentially, yeah, you can fit upwards of 35 to 40 people on a bus.
So it's California.
You can actually fit more than that with standing, but there's between 35 and 40 seating.
Very cool. So California and then Stark County, Ohio. And we are the leading edge folks on all of this. We were recently out there and I thought it looked so funny to see all the electric cars line up and fill themselves. You're not filling yourself, but juicing them up as if it's a phone, you know, like your car, like your phone. So what does this look like? I mean, I'm just curious. What's it look like to fill with this new kind? Does it come with a pump or do you plug it in some way?
Nope. There's a pump just like you do for traditional gas. The nozzle just looks slightly different. So instead of pulling up on the lever like you would for traditional gas, you connect it and there's like a little locking mechanism. And then once it's locked and pressurized, the hydrogen or the CNG is pumped right into the bus. It just like a regular car, you know, it stops when it's full. It does the same thing and you put everything back just like normal.
We've got to be sure to drive by there and see while this is happening because that just sounds fascinating. And it's the only place you'll see it in the country other than out the far, far west.
Yeah, well, there's some facilities that have research buses on their property, and they have to have filling stations for those as well, but they're not easily accessible. So, yes, right now our filling station is not public. Our CNG is, but the hydrogen fuel cell is not. That is something that is in the works down the road.
Let's be mythbusters a little bit here. The grumps who say, I'm not voting for that SARTA on the ballot one more time because I see too many empty buses driving by. Okay, help me burst that myth, Christy.
Well, I will invite any of them to come down to Cornerstone at 1:15 and see all the individuals that are getting on and off of those buses. That is our peak time when all the buses are in and people are maneuvering through. If there is a bus that is quote-unquote empty, it could be at the end of the run where they've just dropped everybody off and they haven't made it. They're making their way back towards what we call the zone or the transit center. But I invite anyone to come down at 1:15 down to Cornerstone when you see everybody running around trying to catch their buses. Belden Village, same thing. Their times are a little bit different than Cornerstone. But I invite anyone to come down to any one of our transit centers at their lineups and see the people that are milling around and waiting for their buses.
And critical to be able to get where they're going.
Yes. We're the lifeline. There are some individuals that if we did not operate, they could not get out of their home. They, you know, if it's an individual riding Proline, that is their lifeline. We actually had a gentleman several years ago that became eligible for Proline. One of our outreach specialists went out and trained him on how to book his trip, ride the bus. They took a trip with him, trained him on how to use their service. And he was so emotional because he hadn't been out of his house without asking friends or family for a ride in 3 years.
Oh,
he didn't have that independence that you and I have, that we can just get in our car and go where we want. He didn't have that. And to be able to give that independence back to somebody is an amazing feeling.
Dignity.
Yeah. I mean, we all, you know, when we don't have our car, we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? These individuals rely on us to go to work. You know, we want people to be able to get to work. We want people to be able to go to school so that they can get that dream job and move into that career that they want. You know, life-saving medical appointments, you know, dialysis and things like that. We want people to be able to do those things, and that's why we are here. So...
And it's a way off of public assistance as well, to be able to get to school and get to that job and helping people support themselves. It is a critical service, what you do. Any idea of how many bus riders you have on any given day? Or
on any given day, it fluctuates. But last year, we provided 2.4 million rides.
Wow.
For
Say
the
that
year.
again.
2.4 million rides
That's
for the
amazing.
entire year.
Wow.
And that's on all of our services. So at any given day, it ranges.
Well, it is awesome. I knew this time was going to be flying. We do need to take a short break. We've got lots more to talk about with Christy Petty-Cox from SARTA. Stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.